Live on your morning news at 8:30 on Spectrum News. The suspected Butler High School student shooter pleads guilty. We'll take a look at his day in court yesterday and hear what his family is saying. After 16 years, the federal government is implementing the death penalty. Why Democrats are slamming the decision. And health officials say a Guilford County man died from a brain infection he contracted after swimming at the Fantasy Lake Water Park near Hope Mills in Cumberland County. We'll have a look at the infection that took his life. And a traveling dinosaur exhibition is headed to the Twin City this weekend. We'll tell you where you can go to check it out and when the show opens. Good morning. It is 8:31 now on this Friday, July 26th. Glad you could start your day with us as we ease into the weekend. I'm Justin Quisenberry, and before we get to all of those top stories for you, we want to take you live outside to the Twin City. Winston-Salem there looking nice on a Friday morning. We want to check in now with meteorologist Lee Ringer, who is in for Ariella this morning for an idea of what we can expect today.
Hey, good morning, Justin, and happy Friday to you. I've got a checklist to help us plan the day based on the weather conditions. Definitely would recommend grabbing the sunglasses before you head out. At some point today, I would get outside, whether that's lunch outside today or maybe after work, enjoying some nice outdoor weather with warm temperatures, but not incredibly hot. Still take the water bottle with you, but we don't have to deal with extreme heat. You can leave the umbrella at home unless you just want an umbrella for some shade. We certainly do not anticipate any rain. There's still an old frontal boundary that's off the North Carolina coast. That is stalled out, and it will not be moving back our way. We may get a few of these fair weather clouds at times today, but all in all, I still think it'll be a mostly sunny day. Around 80 degrees for lunchtime, at least 80 at noon, 81 at 1 o'clock, and we'll make it into the mid-80s. Our high about 4 o'clock or so at 84 degrees. Clear skies for your plans this evening. As the sun sets, we'll be dropping back through the 70s. Late tonight and tomorrow morning, we'll look for the 60s. Coming up, I think you're going to love the weekend forecast, your Saturday and Sunday outlook, right here in 10 minutes.
8:32 right now. The teenager prosecutors say killed his classmate at Butler High School knows now the price he'll pay for the crime. Jatwan Cuffey was charged with killing Bobby McKeithen Jr. last October, and Cuffey pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. In court Thursday, McKeithen's family addressed Cuffey, saying their lives were forever changed with the death of their son, and that this has sadly become the new normal, with people resorting to violence to solve their problems. Cuffey's lawyer said Cuffey was sorry for his actions and regrets pulling the trigger that day. We spoke to Cuffey's family and attorney after court, and they agree the violence destroyed both families that day.
This isn't a whodunit case. I mean, it's on video. It's clear that Bobby strikes Jatwan first, but it's also clear that Jatwan took out a gun and used a firearm.
I have a lot of sympathy for the family. The mother, the father, the brothers and sisters, because Jatwan had them as well.
Cuffey was sentenced to 6.5 to 9 years in prison, and he will get credit for time served.
Which in your opinion, let me show you my money. It's just as green as yours.
Ronald, you're so stupid.
A viral video shows a Raleigh woman using a racial slur at a North Hills restaurant, and the woman says she is not backing down. Chandra Stewart recorded this at the Bonefish Grill. Stewart says Nancy Goodman complained her table was being too loud before using the slur. Officials at the restaurant say they're reviewing the incident. Goodman blames the incident on her anxiety. She insists she's not racist, but when asked about the incident, she said she would use the racial slur again. Happening today, after 2 weeks of testimony, the trial over the state's legislative district maps is drawing to a close. Attorneys for legislative Republicans continue to make the case that the maps don't violate the state constitution. Spectrum News reporter Lenny Supal joins us from downtown Raleigh.
Yes, a lot of national attention, especially as this case winds down. Today, lawyers will call their final witnesses, and we already know that judges have ordered that all arguments must wrap up by 5 p.m. today. Now, this case really making waves in the political realm, especially after the recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling that turned over the matter of partisan gerrymandering over to the states. This particular case in Raleigh looks at partisan gerrymandering under the state constitution. In part, it will determine if files obtained by a political mapmaker can be used as evidence. In the wake of his passing, Thomas Hoffler was contracted by legislative Republicans to redraw the embattled 2017 legislative district maps, but an election reform group called Common Cause claims he used racial data to design the map, giving Republicans an advantage. Some Republicans say that's not the case. Some even believe that the files were tampered with and manipulated in Hoffler's passing. So, of course, we'll continue to follow up on the latest developments in this case. Stay with Spectrum News for the very latest details. Reporting from downtown Raleigh, Lenny Supal, Spectrum News.
16 Marines are now facing charges ranging from human smuggling to drug-related offenses. Authorities made the arrest at Camp Pendleton in California Thursday. The Marine Corps said 8 other Marines were also questioned in an unrelated drug investigation. The federal death penalty in America is set to be reinstated after 16 years without the execution of a federal inmate. Meredith Wood has the latest.
Attorney General William Barr has directed the federal government to resume capital punishment after nearly 2 decades, ordering the Bureau of Prisons to resume executions, beginning with 5 death row inmates that the Justice Department says are, quote, convicted of murdering and in some cases torturing and raping the most vulnerable in our society, children and the elderly. The order was quickly met with opposition.
All the countries that continue to impose the death penalty on the population are flying in the face of what the UN believes is the principled position to end this.
Democrats slammed the execution orders. California Senator Kamala Harris said in a statement, quote, there must be swift and serious consequences for those who murder another human being, but the death penalty will not make our country safer. Former Vice President Joe Biden tweeted, quote, since 1973, over 160 individuals in this country have been sentenced to death and were later exonerated, with the White House signaling Trump's full support for the change.
The president's made very clear he wants stiffer penalties for high-level drug traffickers. We're actually hopeful that some legislation can be introduced and passed on a bipartisan basis.
I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
A hidden killer took the life of a Guilford County man after some summer fun in the water. Health officials say the victim got sick after swimming at Fantasy Lake Water Park in Cumberland County 2 weeks ago. The cause of the deadly illness was an amoeba common in warm fresh water. They say the organism is not harmful if you swallow it, but it can be fatal if it enters your body through the nose. In rare instances, it can lead to a brain infection. The health department counts only 5 cases in the state between 1962 and last year, but those who get infected rarely come out of it alive. Health officials say swimmers can protect themselves by wearing nose clips or holding their nose if they jump or dive in. And they say limit swimming in shallow, warm, freshwater areas and try not to kick up sediment. A new mobile health clinic will begin providing care to uninsured patients in Forsyth County next month. Wake Forest Baptist Health and the School Health Alliance of Forsyth County partnered with to create the mobile health program. NC Baptist Hospital Foundation grant paid for the $250,000 unit that will serve both adults and more than 3,000 students at 9 schools.
And our goal is really to make sure that kids have the health assessments and the vaccines that they need to be able to stay in school.
The clinic has 2 private exam rooms and a counseling room. It will begin offering health assessments, well-check visits, and immunizations for children August 6th. We're live in Winston-Salem right now at 8:39. A traveling dinosaur exhibition is taking over the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds this weekend. Spectrum News reporter Kaylee Peterson is live from the exhibit setup to tell us how the show works to make it an educational and this is her pun, I'll give her credit, dynamite experience for the whole family. Kaylee.
Hey Justin, good morning. I couldn't resist with that pun. I just had to put it in there. But yes, Jurassic Quest is taking over the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Education Center. Joining me this morning with Jurassic Quest is Carlos Salgado. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
What is Jurassic Quest?
We're a life-size animatronic dinosaur exhibit. We travel around the country. We try to make our dinosaurs as lifelike and as accurate as possible so kids and families can actually see what dinosaurs actually look like.
You just said it, you try to make this as real and as accurate as possible. How do you guys do that?
We work with paleontologists trying to get the exact measurements, the height, the size, and the actual features on those dinosaurs.
And over here we have a special guest. Tell me what's over here. Tell me who we have.
We have one of our 3 baby dinosaurs. This is Tyson the T-Rex, and this is his trainer, Brittany.
All right, awesome. Oh, look, he's gotten a bite. All right, and we also have something special and local to North Carolina. What do we have here?
We have North Carolina state fossil. It is the megalodon tooth. It became the state fossil in 2013, about 6 years ago.
And what is the megalodon?
Megalodon is a shark species, extinct about 1.5 million years ago, and is one of the largest species of sharks ever uncovered.
And earlier you were comparing this to a great white shark. How can you tell us a little bit about that? The size?
Well, the tooth size of a great white shark is about 1 inch by half an inch, and the megalodon tooth can get up to 7 inches long. So it's about 10 times larger than a regular great white, and body size about 30 times larger than a great white shark.
Wow, that really puts into perspective just how big that is. But Carlos, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And again, the Jurassic Quest show kicks off today at 3 p.m. and runs through Sunday. You can purchase those tickets online or at the door. Justin, back to you in the studio.
Haley, thanks. It looks like a lot of fun, educational too, and it looks like it's going to be a great weekend for that. It's 8:41 now. Time for weather on the ones. Let's find out how nice it's going to be from Lee.
If you've enjoyed the weather here around the Piedmont Triad over the last couple of days, I think you're going to love the forecast as we move into the weekend. Perhaps you want to plan a little lunch outside this Friday. Our noon temperature around Greensboro and Winston-Salem should be close to 80 degrees. Of course, we'll get a little warmer than that. Typically this time of the year, we hit the warmest part of the afternoon about 4 o'clock. We should be at 84 then. Have plans to be out and about on the town this evening. Weather looks great. Just a few fair weather clouds in the sky. That's about it. As we get close to sunset, at least by 8 o'clock, we'll be dropping into the 70s. Eventually, late tonight, we'll make it into the 60s. That likely will come after about 11 or midnight. So if you're up early tomorrow morning, say close to sunrise, we'll be around 64 degrees. And the humidity remains low. That's probably the best part of the forecast, especially here in late July. As we were getting ready for last weekend, we were talking about oppressive heat and humidity with a dew point at 70 or higher. Today, the dew point's running around or just above 60, and that makes it feel very comfortable. And that also means there's not a big difference between the actual temperature and the heat index. In July, we talk about the heat index a lot in North Carolina, but you'll notice from noon through about 4 o'clock this afternoon, there's only about a degree or so difference between what it will feel like and what the thermometer reads. Often when we have high humidity, it feels hotter than the actual temperature, but that's not going to be a concern. You can see 9 o'clock tonight, the 70s. First thing tomorrow morning, the heat index pretty close to the actual temperature in the mid-60s. And the humidity is not going to go up significantly, at least the first half of the weekend. So once again tomorrow, here's Saturday around 4 or 5 o'clock, the heat index pretty much closely matches the actual temperature. And I don't think we'll have any showers popping up, so you don't have to dodge any rain for your plans outside. Here's a look at this evening, 9 o'clock. We'll take you into the day tomorrow, 8 a.m. on Saturday, all the way through 5 o'clock on Saturday. Futurecast keeps us dry. Tries to indicate a couple of isolated showers in the mountains. Even there, the chance is pretty low. Here at home around the Piedmont Triad, we'll keep our forecast sunny. Morning lows this weekend in the mid-60s, highs in the mid-80s, about 85 to 86 tomorrow and Sunday. Early next week looks a little warmer, closer to 90. Your 7-day outlook is on the way in 10 minutes.
8:43 right now and still ahead on Good Morning News.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff. This SpaceX rocket is now headed to the International Space Station. We'll tell you what's inside it. That's paying tribute to the Apollo 11 crew 50 years after their historic landing.